my understanding is we're voting on the K-8 conversion that is recommended, that was put in the CIP budget, that will be implemented around 2033, 2034. So, and one of the arguments that I heard was capacity for middle school. So, that may or may not solve a capacity issue at that time. But my question for staff, and help me understand how we are going to deal with the capacity issues that we need for middle school today and in the next 2 to 3 years, where it's going to peak and then start going down. But really, to me, looking at the numbers that we have, you know, where capacity in the middle school is over 110, which is the recommended max that we have in ACPS. What is our plan to address that immediate need at this moment? Because I know that, you know, staff doesn't prefer trailers, and I know the reasons, and I understand them, even though I disagree with them. So if that solution is not on the table, what is the solution now to address this capacity need?
Good evening, Dr. Alicia Hart, Chief Operating Officer. Thank you for the question, Mr. El-Nubi. And to be quite honest with you, we do not have a plan right now to address middle school capacity. The reason being is because our directive over the last few years has been to focus on elementary school capacity. That has been the trajectory of the CIP budget that we have planned over at least my entire tenure that I've been here over 5 years. And so if that direction is changing, then our team would need to know that definitively so we could come back with a version of the budget that then speaks to that direction. But our guidance and our direction had been to focus on elementary school capacity. The way that the CIP budget is built currently does just that. It allows us to complete George Mason, and then we move on to Cora Kelly. And once those two school modernizations are completed, that would then address the elementary school capacity. And then the plan was to discuss middle school capacity in the out years, which is part of what we're doing in the proposal that's been put forth to the board.
Thank you. I hear you. And again, we just for the record, we have money for trailers, which is modular classrooms, in the CIP budget that's spread over 10 years. That some of it could be used now, and you know, with board, you know, I actually put an add delete to move that money up so we can use it now for trailers, but clearly, you know, the board didn't support that. So it seems like that's not a solution that's on the table, but in my opinion, that's an immediate solution that we can have, at least in the interim. So that's just my opinion. So my second question, which, you know, I'm sure we heard a lot, can someone just, you know, give me an idea of what sort of community engagement happened with the Jefferson Houston community around that specific recommendation we are considering today? Like, have they been told explicitly this will be recommended to the board and the board will vote on it in December or around this time?
To answer that question, no. There was community engagement with the Jefferson, Houston, Patrick Henry, GW, and Hammond communities from April until September. When the presentation, when the report was presented, I came back in October. I engaged with the families again in November, but there has not been engagement with them regarding this current motion, other than to share the data with the families.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And Mr. El-Nubi, when she did take that to the community, all of the options were on the table. So this final was the discussion with the board and moving forward of what was the best recommendation. So, but all of those options were discussed with them. So that's why we're at this point now.
Okay. And I did watch one of the meetings in November that was virtual, and all the options were discussed, and actually specifically 3 top options that were the 3 top options in the survey. That removing K-8 was not even one of the top 3 options in the survey. So what I'm hearing you say is there was no engagement on that specific recommendation with the community, and there was no direct engagement on that specific one.
So no, so the motion came after my November, or the conversation, I should say, came after my November meetings during the work sessions, the CIP work sessions. Of course, I am still very willing to go back out to the communities. I feel like I've built a great rapport with them and would love to continuously engage with them, with Alicia, of course, because part of that does have to do with the CIP budget. But to answer your question, no.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I may have more to say later, Madam Chair, but I mean, this is one thing I personally would like to see and would have a hard time supporting this motion without. But that's it for me for now. Thanks, Madam Chair.